Hey everybody, this is Toby Younis with the Gypsy Kiss. Thank you for joining me tonight. We're going to play some music, we're going to talk some talk, sometimes about the Fenn Treasure, sometimes not. Stay with me, we'll be on till midnight Mountain Time. For that one. So, phone lines are open, 202-815-1171. If you want to call and talk about stuff, you can call and talk about stuff. In the meantime, we're going to play some music and let you know what's going on where we're at. We're experiencing our first cold weather of the season, starting to feel like autumn to us. Shelley left just a few minutes ago after having we had a good show, and then we had a good session in our member vault. Talked about chapter 1, important literature. It was a lot of fun. So, new insights tonight. It was just kind of, and I think that Shelley telling me she just got home. Yeah. So let me respond to this. Let her know that I know she's home safe. We got our first call here. Hi there. Hello. 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 Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, is this Toby?
It is Toby. Who's this?
Hi, this is Laura from New York. We last spoke in January, I think.
Wow, it's been a while, Laura from New York.
I know, I'm the earth science teacher. It's midnight here in New York, but that's when everything gets going.
I was going to ask you if you're the Laura that's the teacher, right?
Yeah, I'm the earth science teacher from New York. I had the pleasure of winning some topographic maps, which is interesting because we use that in my teaching classroom from, of course, cow lasers, and I was really excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we thank you enough for service. I'm from New York, and we always thank our bravest and finest. So the first thing I want to say is, of course, Mr. Fenn also, but thank you so much for your service to our country.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for your support. I'm sure.
Yes, and to Forrest, of course, too.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. So
now, my specific questions, though, I have a couple of questions.
All right.
I watched John Cowlaser's marathon, too. That was cute. Earlier today, which, of course, I listen to every show, you were talking about how you didn't think it was specialized knowledge about a blaze being, say, the blaze of light through an edifice such as a crack in a rock. And then you explained to the caller that it certainly wasn't to Mr. Fenn. But I think, again, to all of us, I know it's a little girl in India, and I listened, of course, to every one of your shows. Again, the usual is just see the map and the poem. But I think that really, for us, for the lay people searching, it really would be specialized knowledge. And I have a question. I've followed and you said we could talk about everything, but this is nice. I follow all the hikers who start out usually around February, March, on the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, and the Appalachian Trail. Our second chance hiker is just finishing up the Pacific Crest Trail. And they all have blazes, which is the permanent paint on either the tree or the rock, usually a rectangle about, 8 inches by, say, 4 inches, left for them to follow the trail. I always thought since your Continental Divide Trail goes through the states that Forrest has mentioned, of course, many times that you've mentioned, and they are blazes, and they are pretty permanent. I mean, they last a long time. Did you ever consider that those were blazes?
I did long enough to realize that if any of them are blazes, then there are tens of thousands of them.
I know.
And
now, but we have to limit it starting with where warm waters fall. But I thought it might have to do with the Continental Divide.
It could very well. I know there are people who believe that warm waters halt, for example, at the Continental Divide. There are people that believe there is no place for the meek, begins and ends at the Continental Divide. And I know there are people who have theorized that that the Continental Divide that is marked by a series of blazes one of them could be the blaze. And there is no denying that possibility. But no, most of the blazes are marked in the form of what I would refer to as temporary rather than permanent symbol. What's the word that I'm looking for? Their markings are temporary rather than permanent, because even the paint has to be renewed. Annually. There's people who actually go through there's a group name. It's a nonprofit, the Friends of the Continental Divide Trail, and they go through and they repaint each one of those blazes so that people don't get off the trail, because once you're off that trail, it's really easy to get lost, and a lot of hikers don't have all the experience necessary, and that's kind of the expectation. The trail is designed not for people who are expert hikers, but people who are experienced hikers, I guess, I would say. But that left me with the problem that, again, there are thousands of those, and they are not necessarily permanent. And if there's any object that I believe would have to have some semblance of permanence, it's the blaze.
Yeah, it's just also along those trails, such as the one that goes through the states, of course, Forest States.
Yeah.
There are so many places you could place, not necessarily bury, but place, the treasure chest. And, of course, the growth might cover it in the dirt. So, it works on those. Is there a home of brown along the way that, we would have to check?
I know there are places, there are all along the continent, having hiked part of the Appalachian and the Pacific, I know that there are places that have been given names by the hiker. They aren't necessarily on a map. But you will find all along the way stories of people who, for locations of which have been named after people who had a momentous event of some kind or other at that point in the trail. So there might be a home of brown, but it wouldn't be found on a map, as it's informal and just there are people who keep the map of the Continental Divide Trail and make notations, handwritten notations of these areas that are special to some people, and they gain a name for themselves. It's like Baker's Hole along the Madison, just outside of, just north and west, slightly west of West Yellowstone. The reason it's called Baker's Hole is after a fisherman, who gave it that name, and the name stuck. It was never named by the Montana Fish and Wildlife Service. So they adopted that name after it was used regularly to describe a location on the river. So I think that's how those names come about. But a lot of the times they're temporary, and they're informal in nature. So I've never, it sounds to me like you have a solution that's tied to the Continental Divide. Is that, could I say that and be accurate?
I would think so. I'll tell you a cute story. When I first started this in January and February, and I gave the first clue where World Wonders Halt to high school students, they all decided it was a bathtub or where there was no more electricity. They think in very concrete, camping ideas. Well, when I go camping and I can't turn on the hot water through electricity, that's where warm water is called.
Right.
So I thought that was cute for a typical, say, 14 to 18-year-old. That's the way they would think of it.
Oh, I wonder, have you ever said about them that they lack imagination?
I'm sorry, please?
Have you ever said about those 14 to 18-year-olds that you encounter in your work that they lack imagination?
No, in fact, they really do have a lot of it. I have to get them back to, solving, a quadratic equation.
Right.
They have plenty of imagination,
right.
though. And the other thing was just, then the other thing was just cute. Now, please take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
All during the, say January, February, March, all of us, and you can look at the comments, wish that you would have, please forgive me for this, but sort of cut off callers sooner, especially those who were just rambling or didn't have a question. Yeah, I know you can cut me off. That would be cute.
I'm actually going to do that right now.
Yeah,
No, I'm just teasing.
So,
Go ahead.
Yeah, we would hope that, if you go back and look at those, and they were from all your usual people in the comments too, that sometimes they ramble on, a little too long. The last thing that I wanted to mention was, again, we support you 100%, all of us do. And despite it, and we all know the other sites, and certainly it's not cow lasers, but, we think what you're doing is fine. If you want to have a second show where perhaps there might be a membership fee or cow lasers sell something. I mean, that's a mom and dad trying to get together and hunt for treasure, and they're not, doing any harm. Sending, getting a game out there. We normal people here, we don't think there's anything wrong with that. So just, Shelley's amazing. You are amazing. Again, thank you for your service. Keep up the good work. We love you. We think you're amazing, professional. Except for the orange shirt, was it last night or the other night?
Yeah,
that
there's a rational explanation for that, and I'll give it to you. I'll share it with you one day.
Okay. So just keep up the good work. We all love you. Sometimes you need to hear that,
Thank you. That's very kind of you, very thoughtful of you to make the call, and I look forward to hearing from you again.
Sometimes, you hear the other side, and we all think it's fine. As you and Cal Loiser said, if somebody wants to do it, and apparently they got permission from Forrest for a lot of these things. So,
they got permission from Forrest. They got permission from Forrest for all of those things.
And did you see Sasha? She did a drawing with Mr. Fenn. So that was a drawing that was actually planned for Fenbury, but because Chris Jones, the gentleman who had produced the box, had a couple of got hurt.
In one case, a natural disaster, and the other a physical disaster. They had to postpone it to finally do the drawing. That video was actually made about the time Fenbury was taking place last.
Sorry, just a quick question. We're all concerned. We saw the latest video from Cynthia, but is she back safe and sound? Is she back and okay?
She was supposed to be back on Wednesday, but the last time I talked to her was on Sunday. So I'm sure if she wasn't back, I would know it by now. I'm sorry, if she wasn't home safely, I would know that she wasn't home.
Right. So please tell her our thoughts with her too, and
I will.
Let us know.
We're talking this weekend, so.
Good. Well, thank you, Toby. We love you. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Well, that was very kind and thoughtful. Can't ask for more than that when somebody calls in, just says how much they like what you're doing. So, a little more jazz for you, huh? Hey, Sassy, I'm not tapping, and I'm not hearing the noise and it's not raining, so I'm not sure what you're picking up on. This song is called Lokeside by Silent Partner. I love that ending. So, yeah, we're at it again tonight. We're going to do this on Wednesdays and Friday nights for a while until I get tired of doing it. And then I'll change again. So, we are taking calls. If you want to call in, phone lines are open. 3D Bronze, thank you. $1.99. Still waiting on my baby mammoth skull pictures. Ugh, where did I do those? You know what I did? Hang on. Hang on just for you. Let me see. What do I have to do here? I'm going to move that. I took all our Rio de los Pinos photos and I put them in a single folder because I was going to upload them to... Oops, Zoom is still open. Let me see if I can find that. And I can show you what I'm talking about if I can find the folder. Rio de los Pinos. There we go. Okay. And then, oh my goodness, John Wayne Bobbitt. All right, let me take this call. Hey, John Wayne, how the heck are you doing, big guy? John Wayne Bobbitt, calling John Wayne Bobbitt.
Hey.
Paging
Toby.
Mr. John Wayne Bobbitt. How are you doing, John Wayne?
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. And you?
Good.
Good. So what's new?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Question is, can you hear me?
I'm in Utah right now, but
What do you do?
I'm headed on the 70.
There's no
Boots on the ground tomorrow.
there's no Fenn Treasure in Utah, brother. What are you doing there?
I'm driving to Colorado.
Oh, where in Colorado you go?
Ironton Park.
Where?
Ironton Park.
Ironton Park.
That which is the end of the Rainbow Route.
Oh, I see. So, are you trying to
Rainbow Route goes.
Are you trying to fit in one last search there?
Yeah, before it snows, because the best time to go up in the Rocky Mountains anytime would be around now when all the runoff is gone, when it's dry.
Yeah, and before
before
it rains again.
so all the water veins are dried up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got some good hiking. You can go up a rocky gulch, with no water.
So, are you in your RV or your Jeep?
I'm in a four-wheel drive pickup that I rented. I'm driving tractor trailer now.
Yeah.
And I got my tractor trailer parked at a Walmart in Salt Lake City.
Oh.
I'm driving from Salt Lake City down to Ouray, Ironton Park, and then I'm going to go up the gulch, get that heavy loads of water high, and try to go beyond that, which is the final resting place in front of the Brown Mountain. And in front of the final resting place is a 12-foot trail that goes down to from the gulch. The gulch up. Yeah. You saw that picture I showed you.
Yeah, I did. I do remember that.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
So,
to get to that spot.
Have you checked the weather in that area? I'm just curious because I know some of that snowfall that we saw up north did reach south into Colorado, but I can't tell you how far.
Nope. Nowhere near
all right.
West Colorado.
Well, good.
Weather's been pretty no precipitation, pretty dry. So hopefully when I get there, it'll be dry. I think I was real close to it back in September 2017.
Yeah.
When I walked up the gulch and I came to that spot where, in the phone, heavy loads of water high. I didn't go beyond that.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't wide. So basically, if I can get beyond that, somehow, some way, there's a way around. You know what I mean?
So, do you feel like with this trip you're coming home with a treasure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think that I'm pretty positive it's there. Because heavy loads of water hot. Yeah. On top of the mountains is basically warm waters. I believe that, in your earlier videos, you and Shelley were talking about translating warm waters.
Right.
Translate warm waters into Indian language would be Uncompahgre. So, I mean, I think that's the trickiest part. If you don't have warm waters, you don't have nothing.
Right.
So, I mean, Uncompahgre, hot water spring. I mean, that's what it means in English language. But I think back then, when in the Indian language, back in the old days, that's warm waters.
So let me ask you the question that I get asked a lot: How is knowing the Ute Indian word for warm waters not specialized knowledge? Oh, did I lose you? Ah, shucks, he's driving, so I may have lost him. Hey, let's see, who asked me that question? Hold on a second. Let me respond to... Somebody just gave me a... oops. Where was that? Okay, 3D bronze. So here's what I've got for you, and I promise to send them tonight. All right, so let's do a screenshot here. Okay, so that's Shelley holding the baby mammoth skull. Let me see if I can go, or do I have to go backwards? Ugh, I have to go backwards. So that's Shelley holding the baby mammoth skull, and then I have these 2 additional pictures. That's the baby mammoth skull in C2. Oh, here we go. John's calling back. John Wayne, hold on for just a second so I can share these photos. Just give me a second, all right? And then the final picture, 3D bronze, is that one. So as you can see, it's some kind of animal skull, brain, cranium holder. But it was our thing. So I will send you those pictures tonight. See if you can do anything with them. That would be fun. All right, let's get back to full screen here.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, now I am. So finish your story for me.
Well, I think we got cut off, right?
Yeah, we did. I dropped you. No, I mean, I didn't drop you. You dropped. I don't want you to think that I did that intentionally.
Well, so yeah, warm waters, Uncompahgre, that's on top of the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to take the canyon down. So you go down to the bottom of the mountain, the 6.8 miles to home of Brown, capital B, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Brown is the key word in the poem. Brown Mountain. Obviously, you know that there's 3 Brown Mountains in the Rocky Mountains, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so Brown Mountain, Colorado is my spot. So, and there's a lot of things that that I came up with that I believe that's the hiding. That's the final resting place.
Oh.
Bob Ross, season 3, episode 7, where he painted landscaping of the Rocky Mountains. It was Brown Mountain.
Is there anything that Bob Ross painted that wasn't about the Rocky Mountains? I'm just curious.
So he painted all Alaskan landscapes because he was stationed in Alaska for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
As in Air Force. So he died of leukemia or lymphoma.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He died of cancer in 1995. So, and I believe a request came in for a Rocky Mountain landscape in 1983. So that's before Forrest had gotten cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But that was his favorite spot. But he was dealing with art and all that stuff.
Right.
And he was in the Air Force for 20 years. So I think I'm speculating that Forrest called in and requested, a Brown Mountain, a Rocky Mountain landscape, Brown Mountain.
From Bob Ross?
So, I think that was his only painting that he did of the Rocky Mountain.
So tell me again which episode that is of Bob Ross. I don't know why I'm not surprised that your John Wayne Bobbitt is an expert at Bob Ross, but So which episode?
Well, my dad he loved Bob Ross. So my dad, my dad's probably, I don't know if he's as smart as you are, but
yeah,
he reads a lot of books. He's a pretty wise old man. So, season 3, episode 7 would be the Rocky Mountain
season
Request.
3 episode. And what year was that?
1983.
Okay, all right, I'll look it up. So
12 years before,
yeah. All right, sir. Well, you be careful on your drive there. Pay attention to what you're doing. I don't know where you're driving at night, but you're John Wayne Bobbitt, so what the hell?
I'm a truck driver. I've been a professional driver all my life, but I'm using a wireless device.
Yeah. So here's when you find the treasure, I'd like you to drive back through Albuquerque. Hell, I'll meet you in Santa Fe, so we can take pictures of it, and I'll drive you over to Forrest Fenn's house, and you can share the experience with him.
You want me to bring a chest to your?
Oh, did I just lose you again?
Yeah, you cut me off.
I didn't. I'm not cutting you off. I am not cutting you off. Just bring it down here. We'll put it in the studio, and we'll take pictures and make video of it, so you have some record of what you've done, what you've accomplished.
Yeah, well, been working on this for a while, man. A lot of boots on the ground.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I'm asking is because I have a feeling if you don't find this damn treasure, you're never going to come down here again.
Yeah, well, I mean, get the treasure up, definitely come down.
Yeah. Well, good. I look forward to it. We look forward to it.
So, what else can I tell you?
I don't know. Tell me that you found the treasure.
Rainbow Route.
Yeah, Rainbow Route.
Have you ever looked at that book, The Rainbow Route? Came out in 1972.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the book?
No, I haven't. Honestly.
It's like one of those books you buy that's like a collector's. Because it's just so well written, and the photography and all the photos in the book are really pretty.
Yeah.
I got.
Oh, you're breaking up. That's what you get for driving through the mountains.
Oh, the steam train used to run from Silverton to Ironton Park.
Yeah.
Which was the end of the Rainbow Route. So, the steam train, Silver,
Yeah.
And the book is published, it tells you all about the, the Rainbow Route and the steam trains, and has a lot of, talks about auto mirrors building the $1 Million Highway, which is the most dangerous highway in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're brave and in the woods, you gotta be pretty brave to, it's pretty scary. You ever been on it? 550?
I have not. No.
Ah, wow. Man, you're gonna get out.
I guess I have to get out more, huh? I have to travel more.
Yeah, you gotta get out more. How's your knees?
The right one is healed. The right one is pretty much healed. The left one is still a bummer, but I'm going to get I was visiting the VA on Tuesday, and they've set me up for a steroid shot next Tuesday, so that'll help. Would you say because of your knees would put you in a meek status? No place for the meek. Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't. The physical things are my physical things, my issues. It was my own fault. Samantha, what are you doing up at this hour? It's got to be Samantha. It's 12:30 in New Jersey. For God's sake, Samantha just said came on into the room. Hi, Samantha. How are you doing? So make sure you say hi to your mom and dad, Samantha, and tell them to get you to bed. You should be in bed. Samantha has her own YouTube channel. Samantha, you can't put the link, but tell me the name. Write the name of your adorable YouTube channel so the other folks can go to visit it, maybe become subscribers. All right, John Wayne, be safe. Get a place to.
On the ground tomorrow.
Yeah, but you need some rest. You need to get some rest tonight, brother.
Yeah, rest tonight. Get up tomorrow morning early.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know my number. Keep me in the loop.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you tomorrow when I get it.
I look forward to it. Be safe.
All right, bye.
Talk to you. Okay, hey, Wichita, you kept calling me. I'm going to call you right back. But Samantha Ulrich, where did she go? Samantha? You're supposed to be in bed. It's 12:30, for God's sakes. Hey, you reached Toby Younis. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what are your thoughts on the Forrest Fenn Treasure hunt?
He was a cop and good at his job. He committed the ultimate sin. He testified against the cops gone bad. Cops that tried to kill him, but got the woman he loved instead.
Okay, so I'll give you a chance to kind of get back to the topic. 3, 2, 1, and you're gone. Wichita, Kansas. What are you thinking, huh? What are you thinking, Wichita? There's Waco. Waco, Texas. Waco, Texas is near Temple, where Fenn grew up. It's the home of Baylor University. It was Baylor. Hey, Waco, what's your name? I was going to ask you where you're calling from, but I know where you're calling from. And what do you want to talk about?
Hi, Toby. This is Joe Zamora. And wanted to ask you, actually, what do you think the biggest reason for people not going out during the winter to search? Is it just because it's too dangerous, or is it because possibly the treasure is not visible under the snow?
So let me address one thing right here. Samantha, do not give your phone number. Well, she knows better than that. Just, Samantha, put down the name of your channel, and I'll give everybody a link later. Chroma Key, behave yourself, for God's sakes. I actually remember having a conversation recently on the phone with a gentleman who was he wasn't critical. He was just saying, look, some of us live in this area year-round, right? People in Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana don't stop their lives because the winter has come. What I think most people are more concerned about is people who live outside of that area and who imagine that trekking around the mountains in the winter is as easy as trekking around the mountains in the summer. And when people die, they are not locals, right? When people die in winter snowstorms or just in winter situations, they're not locals. The locals know how to handle it. They're prepared for it. They prepare their vehicles for it. They add to their vehicles the things necessary to survive if they find themselves in a survival situation. And it is rare that they find themselves in a survival situation because they know the limitations not only of themselves but their vehicle. People coming from Florida have no idea what to expect. It'll be a big surprise to them. And I think it's those surprises, those events that cause people to say you shouldn't be searching in the winter. And maybe the caveat is you shouldn't be searching in the winter if you don't have winter search experience. If your idea of experience is running, getting your exercise on the boardwalk in Boca Raton, and suddenly you think that's going to work for you in the mountains north of Santa Fe or in Albuquerque or et cetera, then I think that's what everybody is referring to. I think that's the fear, that we lose another searcher who comes from the flatlands out in the middle of winter and suffers the kind of damage that winter can do if you're not familiar with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, and not to get too deep into conversation, but
yeah,
it's been said that it's not that far away from a road. I mean, or wherever Forrest pulled over.
There is no evidence that Forrest has ever said anything like that. That's an assumption that is made by searchers. We assume that he drove to a certain location, that he parked someplace, and that he hiked for 4 times in a certain direction in one afternoon. But there is no evidence that Forrest Fenn has ever said it's near a road. The closest we come to that is when he says, people pass by that people have been within people. He's never said searchers. People have been within 500 feet. So the assumption is that, they must be driving along a road on which they are not aware that a treasure is within 500 feet of them. Grapevine, Texas, I see your call. I'll call you back after this call. It's easier because I can only see it and I can only take one call at a time. So I think that's what we're dealing with.
Well, thank you. I wasn't aware that was an assumption by searchers. I was under the impression that was definitely a fact. So.
No, it is not. It's an opinion that's expressed by searchers based on the comment that he made back in, I think it was 2013, where he said people have been within 500 feet, searchers have been within 200 feet. And he was very clear about the distinction, right? He didn't say searchers have been within 500 feet. Obviously, if searchers have been within 200 feet, they've been within 500 feet. But he made that distinction. People have been within 500 feet, so the assumption was, they must be driving along a road or riding a train or something that's within 500 feet of where the treasure is located. Assumption. It's an opinion.
Okay, great.
We don't know for certain that it's a fact.
One more question.
Sure.
What search area what search state are you hooked on right now? Are you on a particular one, or is it you're just kind of not set on one?
I can give you my operating assumption. My operating assumption is that the probability that it's a 75% probability the treasure is hidden in New Mexico and a 25% probability that it's hidden in Montana. That operating assumption is new to about a month ago when I came back from Montana. Prior to that, my operating assumption was that there's a 100% probability it was located in New Mexico.
Okay, can you, without going too deep again and in long conversation, can you give me a reason as to why 75% New Mexico?
Well, the honest answer is because now it's 25% Montana, and it's the balance of the 100%, right? So it's not as much that it's 75% New Mexico. It's that as I came back from my vacation up north, I came back with a 25% assumption or a 25% probability that it was Montana. That 25% was deducted from the 75% in New Mexico. I'm sorry, from the 100% that it was in New Mexico.
Okay. I see.
So the reason it's only 25% is because I saw some things that interested me and stimulated the idea that I needed to do some additional research. But I haven't gotten as far along in that the development of that theory to go any further than 25% probability.
You're talking about Montana, right?
That's correct.
See, now I'm more curious. Now I want to know what.
Well, have you been watching the shows at all in the past month or so?
I haven't. I need to catch up.
Okay. Well, that's why I'll give you the short version of what happened. We went through all the search states: New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana on vacation. Shelley's husband Kevin and I, because we do our vacation every year together, right? And we promised ourselves that we would go. I didn't necessarily want it to go through Yellowstone, but I thought, geez, I can't go this far and not go through Yellowstone. So we went through Yellowstone. We ended up staying in West Yellowstone one night, and that day, the following day, we visited West Yellowstone. We went to the downtown area of West Yellowstone before you go in through the West Gate to Yellowstone National Park, and I saw that there were several trout fishing shops on the main drag in West Yellowstone. So while Kevin and Shelley went to do other things, I said, I'm going into these trout fishing shops. One of the ones that I went into had a map that was published in 2008 that I was looking at, And I saw something on that map that intrigued me. So after we visited downtown, I asked them to go for a ride with me out the Madison, north and west of West Yellowstone. And I saw something else that intrigued me. And while I was there, I ended up talking to a Montana, let me see if I can remember, they're the Fish, Game, and Parks Service Ranger. I ran into him. And I started talking to him, and sometimes when I'm talking to rangers, not sometimes, a lot of times, I don't mention that I'm looking for the Fenn treasure, but he figured it out just by the questions I was asking. And he substantiated some of the things that I thought I had seen on that map on the wall, hanging on the wall in one of those fishing shops. And so by the time I got back, I had worked out a partial theory. I felt comfortable that I had a location for a precise location for beginning where warm waters halt and the canyon down. So that's why 25%.
Gotcha. Okay.
And my plan next year is to go back up there after the spring thaw and do some more research. And I'm going back up there alone. Shelley and Kevin and I are not going back there on vacation. We're probably going someplace else on vacation. But I'm going back up there for a week in the spring.
That makes me think that you're onto something, and you want to go alone so you can find it.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. No, because they know that we're still partners, right? No matter if I were to go up there and find it, it's still a 50-50 split between me and Shelley. She's my business partner, and it's always been that way. So. What it should tell you is there was something intriguing enough that it would require additional research. I don't feel like I'm going to go back there and recover the treasure, nor do I intend. I think I mentioned in a couple of these shows that of the 34 times I've been boots on the ground, I've only looked for the treasure once. The rest have all been research. I discovered later, right? I didn't realize that until recently. No. So that's where we are with that.
Awesome.
So you're going to have to wait. So you're going to have to wait till next spring before I can have because I share everything with everybody because I can't keep my mouth shut. Apparently, you'll have to wait till next spring. So Facebook's in the room. Justin, were you looking at Bud Lily's map in the shop basement on? Wow, I don't know because I don't know which stores or what streets I was on, brother. Couldn't tell you the names of any of the stores that I went into. I went into 4 of them, all of which specialized in fishing. I'm answering a question in the room. All right.
That's fine.
All right, caller. Well, thanks for calling in. Hope I answered all your questions. And if not, call back sometime.
Thank you, Toby. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. You have a good one. Okay, so if you guys call and you're not getting through, what I will do is, as soon as I'm done with this call, I'll call you back. So Grapevine, Texas. Wow, 3 Texas calls in a row. Grapevine, Texas, I'm calling you back.
State your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Oh, Toby. Poor Grapevine probably doesn't recognize my number. Justin, in the Facebook room, older map with lots of handwritten locations. The map was dated 2008, and it did have some handwritten notations on it.
Hello?
Hi, it's Toby. I'm returning your call.
He was a cop and good at his job.
Oh, Jesus.
He was the ultimate.
All right. We're going to block he was a cop. So, yeah, you're just going to have to be pulling up new numbers each time, brother, because I'm just going to keep blocking your numbers. So, isn't that cool? I can do that. All right, let's get back to playing some music here. What do we got? Orange Sunset by Quincas Moreira. Wow. Ooh, I like the start of this. Paula, if you call in, I will attempt to answer your questions. I don't know everything, so I can't promise that they will all be answered. Feel free to call. Joe, my pleasure. Glad that I could talk with you. Hey, we got Davio. Davio.
Hey,
my favorite voicemail guy.
It's been fun playing with that, I tell you. It's been nice to make you guys laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm moving.
No.
Away from
You know
TV.
what? We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you. I think they're very creative, very original, and very funny in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's up with you?
You can hear me now, right?
I can hear you fine.
There we go. I just had to move to another part of the house. I'm in Denver right now. I'm still on reconnaissance. I have gone out to my spot, and I've taken compass readings back to the Blvd, and they're coming up as page numbers, and the page numbers are describing where I am at. So I am blown up like 32. Page 32 talks about the slab he has in his pocket. Well, I'm standing on a big slab, you know, as I look at, heading 32 back at the Blvd. I'm freaking beside myself.
Hang on.
My cousin.
Davio.
Yes.
Octopus Dix, is that
Yes.
you calling in? Is that you calling in with the
Pardon me?
renegade thing? Octopus Dix? Go ahead. I'm talking to somebody in the room. Go ahead.
No.
So tell me about yourself.
Well, what I have discovered is I've always thought when you look quickly down, this thing should be over, but that's just not true. That's a preconceived notion that I had that's just completely wrong. And I think a lot of people share that. You know, when I look quickly down, you see a chapter in the book. Clearly, what you're looking at is a photograph and the description of what is in the book. And then from there, you have an understanding of what you should do because of what it took to get to where I'm at. So, I'm psyched. I can't tell you how psyched I am.
So how close are you to finding the treasure?
Well, that's an unknown because we all have assumption that it should be like, right there. And I've had that assumption every step of the way. So, where I'm at right now is trying to understand what I hope is the last, two parts. Because I know I'm in the right area, and I just because of the items I'm seeing in this area are remarkable, just remarkable. I'm hanging around old buildings that are just like in the book. The photographs of the log cabin.
Yeah.
There is there's foundations, the footprints of time. I'm looking at 3 of these little tiny buildings. I'm looking at mutton pits when he talks about trash.
Yeah.
He's talking about a mutton pit, which I know he had to be at. Because I'm in Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
So where the warm waters halt has got everything to do with the keyword, and more with Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
That's how I got to where I'm at.
All right. So let me go back to the question I just asked. How close are you to finding the treasure?
How close am I to finding the treasure?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm 3 trips away. So I go back on Tuesday because the snow will have melted. I have a theory that I'm working on to apply to my area, so could be the next time I go out. I hope so because it's hard to keep doing this.
So let me ask this.
I had brought. Go ahead. Ask your question.
No. Let me put it a different way. When do you expect to return to California?
I'm going to stay here as long as my money can hang out because I'm in a camper and I got great internet connection and I can stay here for free while I help out with the family here. And I don't know. I've probably got enough money to stay here for another week.
Yeah.
Probably something like that. I brought my cousin out there, and I sat him down on what is directly underneath the blaze, and I brought him into the place, and he is just, freaking out. He totally can. He is amazed, just amazed, as I was at the icon. Do you know what a window rock is, Toby? You know what window rocks are, right?
Yeah. They have a lot of them in Utah.
Right, they're pretty rare in the big scheme of things,
Right.
So when he talks about on 42, 43, those pages, when he talks about sitting in the window with his feet up, listening to the music and stuff like that. Remember, you know that part of the book?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Well, at 42 degrees, I've got a window rock.
When you say, you've used those terms before, you used it on the voicemail that you left tonight. When you say 42 degrees, what are you referring to?
Okay, so if you were to, in your house right now, if you got, if you aim a compass at your faucet in your house and you walk around the room, that's a dead reckoning marking. Your compass is always going to point north, but what you're getting your heading off of is a point within a small space that you're in. That's what I'm getting my numbers off of.
Oh, I see. Okay.
These numbers only work in this area off of this quite obvious thing, which is what I'm calling a blaze.
Right.
Which is the blaze. It's 8 stories tall. It's 80 feet big. It's clearly this, obelisk, pointy freaking rock within the area, right? And then from that, I'm walking around, and there's a slab at 32. There's a stump at 35, which looks exactly like page 145, 146.
Yeah.
And then then at 42, I've got a bunch of trees and a little building that's just like the little carriages they're in. The wagon train kind of thing. The shape, the half moon shape that the area I'm in is exactly like that. I've got so many things that's just blowing my mind. Look quickly down in his chapter 20, just bam, just blows. And then from there, the slab is talking about making marbles in his pocket on page 32.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a flow of information that jives with what I'm looking at that has got me just blown away. So what I'm trying to understand is where now that he's got me in this location, where's the next place that he's taking me?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's like a bit of a musical journey is what it looks like. Because taking in the canyon down, that's like down in the valley on top of Old Smoky, on top of on top of Spaghetti, all the camps on. I can totally see that. And then what movies those are in and where it's written.
The location that you're at, you said you've taken your cousin with you. Are you staying where your cousin lives?
My cousin is born and raised, lives here in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, I see.
And I brought him, to our spot from Denver, it's like less than 5 hours away. So we hopped in the truck and drove out there and spent the day out there, which was fantastic. And he's seeing these these rocks, window rock and the other part that goes with it. And the other rock, and then the blaze rock and the other little buildings, and they are jiving with page numbers. And it's really, really obvious when you're standing there.
All right. Well, I'm trying to get some sense. I'm trying to get some sense of where you're going with all this. Is it do you think, you said a couple more times, will you recover the treasure before the end of 2019, or is this going to have to wait till next season?
Well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out there at least 2, maybe 3 more times.
Before the end of 2019?
Yeah, I'm talking like Tuesday.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I'm watching the weather, watching the melt, all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I think I have this window where there's lots of sunshine and everything's melting, so I'm keeping an eye on that so I can easily walk in, stuff like that. It's there's something about from where I'm at here on page 41, which is that's the page that he's talking about with the window, and he's sitting on the headstones. I'm at rocks that look like headstones. They are, very similar to the drawing.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out what I do next, because I'm so blown away. I'm kind of shocked, just like, wow. And I've just had everything fall into place. Now I have to figure out the next part. I'm really, shocked. And it's there is definitely a keyword. There's clearly a keyword. If you make an index, Toby, you'll find it.
An index of the book, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that book is the Bible.
Yeah.
So if you make an index, because what I have found, there's a term in art which is called negative space.
Yeah.
Right? Like Turner was really big in negative space. Man, Turner was really good at that, right? Well, so that's exactly what's happening in this book. There's no chapter numbers. Some pages have no numbers. Some places have stamps. Some places are, postmarked stamps.
Yeah.
There's no chapter numbers. Little things like that. So what I found was that what was missing, what was important. There's 3 dogs in this thing, but he never mentions their name of any of them. It's a household pet. That's a thing he should be. I would imagine he would mention, but no, not a freaking word. So there must be some kind of importance around those things that he does not talk about, or that are missing, like radio and movies. And that's where I dove into. That's where I've gotten the greatest amount of, going forward, is kind of putting all those together. Because he said in that interview that he wanted to let his family know about, life when he was a kid. And he mentioned, like one actor?
Right.
but he grew up from, Shirley Temple to Liz Taylor to everything. When you see that on that one page where there's a cat stretched on a hot tin roof, I believe that's page 86 or something, 85. That totally made me think of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Liz Taylor, the Millers, That's how I'm thinking about this. I think of this way more metaphorically and cartoonish in 5th grade and 3rd grade than intellectually. I see things as metaphors that get me to solid things.
Well, I think that's a reasonable assumption that a 13-year-old is more likely to think in terms of cartoonish metaphors than adult metaphors, right?
Right, and he said that he's always been a kid and he never grew up.
Yeah, he says that pretty regularly, doesn't he?
Yeah, so his hero, when he grew up, was going to be Hopalong Cassidy. I'm going to think it was probably more Roy Rogers. Stuff like that. So that's taken me down the trail that's gotten me to this location that is just falling into place, and I'm just thinking I'm only a few away.
Well, I will share with you that I paid a professional to write the table of contents, not the table of contents, the index for the Thrill of the Chase. I thought it was interesting. Are you there? Did I lose you? Oh, dang nabbit. Lost Davio. You know what? If there's anybody I hope finds this treasure, I hope it's Davio 22, because I think he deserves it. Not that I have any say in the matter. Not that I have any say in the matter. Across the ocean from J.R. Tundra. Did you guys scare off for Samantha? Bless her heart. All right. Hey, Davio. So we'll give you a few more minutes, and then we'll.
The music you're doing, I think that's way cool.
Thank you. We're gonna play this one over again.
So,
so wrap it up for me here.
All I want to say is that the thing that's helped me the most is to get out of my own way of preconceived notions of what I think things are. When I start looking at stuff like a third grader, just kind of in your gut, kind of in your face, no illusions kind of thing, I get the greatest advances on information, different information.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be, great. So that's the thing I'd share with the community, and that I think this is a great way to, talk about art, because I think that's what Fenn ultimately got in this for, was to have words, about art happen.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good conversation around stuff like that.
All right. Well, we had lost you before you heard what I said, but I hope that if there's anybody that finds the treasure, it's you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and much love to everybody, and Princess Shelley, and everybody in the room, and that stay safe, stay creative, be loved.
Yeah, Princess Shelley is at home already getting her beauty sleep. So she's not crazy enough to do this. All right. Well, you be safe. Okay. Safe travels.
Yeah, man.
Find that treasure, and let's get this thing over with.
Yeah, man. It'll be a fun phone call, won't it?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Okay, love. Okay.
Take care, brother.
Ciao.
Davio. All right, I want to start that song again because I kind of liked it. What the heck? Why isn't it starting where I want it to start here? Hold on. There we go. There we go. So, Sassy, is Samantha safe? She's the daughter of one of our searcher friends, and she's just a teenager. She shouldn't be up this late, and she certainly... I just want to make sure she was okay. Thanks, Joe. I like it. So, Holy, all you have to do to get the same playlist that I'm going through right now is go to the YouTube audio library, and you can find that on your own YouTube channel. Go to the audio library, and I've selected Jazz and Blues, Dark, and Attribution Required. I'm just playing the... Oh, okay. So yeah, the playlist just comes from the YouTube audio library out of jazz. The genre is jazz and blues. We could do other cinematic, classical, country and folk, dance and electronic, hip hop and rap, holiday, jazz and blues, R&B and soul, reggae, rock. So maybe we'll switch it up a couple of times during the show. Hi, Samantha Ulrich. How are you doing? How is your... I know how your YouTube channel is doing because I subscribe to it. How are your mom and dad doing, and what are you doing up at this hour is my question, young lady. By the way, I'm taking advantage of some of that Wyoming whiskey that we bought at the distillery when outside of Thermopolis when we were up there. It's a great, very smooth double cask whiskey. Pretty. Pretty. Blakey's Burnout from John DeLay. All right, if they're good with you, Samantha, if they're good with you being up at this hour. So you're filming one of your new YouTube video for your YouTube channel with the Joker and I forgot her name. The girlfriend's name. What's the girlfriend's name? I do watch your videos because I think they're cute. Okay, inbound from John Wayne Bobbitt. Let's see what he's up to. John Wayne Bobbitt. John Wayne Bobbitt, what are you up to, brother?
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
I had to call you back.
Well, apparently. So what do you have to call me about? What's new?
I've got to tell you, boots on the ground. You don't necessarily have to leave home now. Because there's a guy, his name's Rex 9. He makes YouTube videos, and he does boots on the ground for you. So
Rex,
all you gotta do is go to his page, REXNYE, Rex 9.
Rex 9, the science guy. Is that the science guy? Or, no, that's not Rex 9. It's Bill Nye, the science guy, right? Who am I thinking?
He's a geologist. He's a geologist and lives in Grand Junction, Colorado, and he goes all over the Rocky Mountains. And he has a lot of boots on the ground.
Well, you know what? I get 3 emails a night of people wanting me to go boots on the ground for them. I have to turn them down. So Middleville, Michigan. I'll call you back in a minute. So REXNYE.
REXNYE. And the cover page mentions Forrest Fenn's book, Too Far to Walk. And that cover page of his YouTube channel came out a year before the book came out, and they're identical.
Oh.
So, and he lives in Grand Junction, Colorado. He's a geologist, and all he does is take pictures of, his boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, he takes a picture, and you can see all these pictures of his like hiking trail. He takes pictures of rock formations, petroglyphs, all kinds of neat stuff, and that's everywhere. So if you're a searcher and you want to review a certain area, go to Rex 9's page, and it'll have your area pretty much. And he's got hundreds and hundreds of videos that he's put up there.
Oh, wow! Well, I'll make sure we put a link. We'll put a link in the description box below for his. I'll find it.
It would sure help a lot of searchers out there.
Yeah.
To get an idea of what's out there on certain trails.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground.
All right.
So
I will put his link. I'll get his YouTube channel. I'll put a link into it and start sharing that with.
Toby, you check it out. You'll find it pretty fascinating.
You mean some of the work that he's done?
Yeah.
All
A lot of great photographs of boots on the ground.
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later, brother. All right. Let's call back Middleville. Middleville, if this is you, Octopus Dicks, you're dead.
Hello?
I'm Middleville. This is Toby Younis from AGK calling you back.
Oh, hey. Hey, it's me, WFG.
Hey, WFG. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
Very good, thank you. What's up?
I just had a couple questions.
All right. Hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor first, and turn the audio on your computer off because I'm getting feedback.
Oh, okay. I had my headphones plugged.
Oh, maybe that's it. All right. So go ahead. What are your questions?
You said WFN is about anything that's either Forrest Fenn related or not, right? But not religion or politics.
Yeah, as long as it's not religion and politics, we're not going to bring that into the show. But yeah, phone lines are open,
So,
brother. Go ahead.
yeah, you consider talking about the Holy Bible religion? I'm just wondering. So
No, that's religion. Did we not just agree that we were going to talk about politics and religion?
Okay, now just asking.
Okay.
Okay, what I wanted to know is why, everybody's saying Forrest Fenn said the chest is wet. So I'm like, if you think about it, I paid attention to the date. I looked at the date of that interview,
Yeah.
and it was somewhere around February, I think, of 2013. And I typed that into the New Mexico Weather Channel, and it showed that like most of the states were wet because of the snow. So I'm wondering why people think it would be like narrowed down because the chest is wet. I'm thinking maybe because they think it's near a waterfall or something.
So, so my opinion on the matter is that all he's doing is taking advantage of the laws of physics. The simple fact of the matter is that chest is going to heat and cool either more rapidly or less rapidly than the surrounding air. As a result, water is going to condense. Water is going to condense on that chest. So it is likely that whether the chest is in water or not, that just the nature of the beast, condensation in the forest, which happens to be a very humid place to begin with, it's likely wet most of its life. Especially around February. I don't think he was giving us a hint or a clue as to its location. I think he was simply saying the laws of physics and the difference in temperature that results in condensation. That's what tells him it's wet.
Yeah, you were breaking out, so I'll have to just watch the video.
Yeah, if you watch it, it'll be fine on the video.
Full of snow, then the chest does, of course, can be wet. It made me wonder,
Yeah, that's the kind of the answer that I came up with. That's my.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
That's an opinion, of course. All right. Anything else, sir?
Not at the moment. I can't think of anything yet.
All right. We'll call back when you do.
You have a good night.
You too. Thank you. John Wayne, Davio 22. Got some good things. You know what? I still haven't finished this piece of music. Oh, no, not that one. We played that one. There we go. This is called the loneliest road in America, US 50. And for those of you that aren't aware, US 50 is the road that goes all the way across the United States from Santa Monica Pier to someplace in Maryland. Ocean City, Maryland. US 50. I've been on part of it. If you're going out to Ocean City from where I lived in Fairfax, you had to get on US 50. Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I'm coming back to this music. Let me hear the rest of it. Hey, Elizabethtown, what's your name? Where are you calling? Oh, I know where you're calling from. What's your question?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
You talking with the Gypsy Kiss?
You are indeed. Well, you're talking with Toby, who's on the Gypsy Kiss. Yeah, yeah.
Hello?
Hi. Hi. What's your name? Oh, jumping Jiminy. Jumping Jiminy. Having trouble with the phone lines. All right. Dang it, we're going to play this song. I'm going to go back to the beginning because I like it. All right. Make it sound like a lonely road, don't they? Yeah, Hooli, I think I agree with you. They do sound kind of nervous, don't they? Girl callers just confident, like those girl callers, lady callers. Joe, so you can only see, Joe, you can only see the comments in the Facebook room. You'd have to come over to the YouTube channel to see the comments in the YouTube channel room. The reason I can see it is because I'm using something Restream.io, so I can see comments from both rooms. That's why I can answer yours and anybody else that's in your Facebook room. It's a tough song to modulate here. Nice. I like that. Oh no, I'm not going to play it again. Vaculator Blues by the Mini Vandals. Let's see what this sounds like. Oh. So, Jimmy Fast, which one do you want me to tell? You have your choice. Hey, Woodbridge, Virginia, what's your name and what's your question?
Hey, Toby, I'm just going to use my first name. I'm the guy that talks to you out of Woodbridge. But we've talked in the comments before.
All right.
But,
all right. I was just agreeing with you. How can I help you?
I just want to say that there's a few things. I've been on the I've never been boots on the ground yet.
Mm-hmm.
But read the book quite a number of times, and just want to make a few revelations that I think are something that I think that some people I don't think are seeing or getting, and see if they make any sense to you.
All right. Well, those are they're your revelations, so I'm sure they make perfect sense to you, and that's all that counts. So go ahead.
First one. Fenn has said about children seeing the book or getting involved in this. Not only going out in the woods with with the family.
Yeah.
But as a child, when you're young, let me ask you a question. Do you, as a child, usually read a book, or do you usually look at a picture as a young child?
Well, these are your revelations, so you go with it.
Right. So what I'm saying there is that if a child was to open that book, like the little girl in India or any other child, 99.9, in my opinion, I would say they would look at the pictures more so than read it.
Yeah.
So that is a big key, I think, in this stall, without trying to give too much away. So I think that's a key that people need to look at.
Okay.
As far as the book's concerned.
That's fair.
Two, and Fenn has said that numerous times about the kid. In doing so, I have picked up, and I think that I can clearly say that the Blaze is a place, okay, and it is a marking. It is something to do within the woods, and I'll leave that at that. But the Blaze is white, and the Blaze is an arrow. I'll tell you that much.
The Blaze
definitive is white, in color.
Okay.
And it is a definitive arrow.
So
let's in a direction.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just qualify a couple of things. Number one, we do have to precede whatever you're saying here is that with the words "This is your opinion."
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's these are your opinions, and that's good. So your opinion is that the Blaze is white and that it is shaped like an arrow.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Well,
and so I don't know. I mean, I think that's what I see, and I'll tell you, like I told you before, in reference to the kid's point of view on this.
Yeah.
As an adult, you'll pick that book up. You'll look at a picture and glance at it, but you're likely to read it as an adult. You're not going to concentrate on the picture.
Right.
You're going to read on the word. Concentrate. A kid is the opposite of that, just the opposite, and that's why he mentions it. And in the book, if you pay attention, you'll find what you need to find, like he always says. That's where all of my revelation of what I'm telling you, my opinion, is where I've gotten what I'm telling you tonight.
So you mentioned that you actually hadn't been out boots on the ground. Is that correct?
No, sir, not yet.
Yeah, and when do you plan to go to implement all these?
Obviously not this year. I wanted to go this year, but I'm like you see, I'm in Virginia, and that'll be a heck of a hike to come across the country.
Oh yeah.
I'm not 100% certain. As I sit and do the armchair thing and do the book reading and all that stuff, I'm not going to be one of those that says, I got it, I know exactly where it is. I've got, with this thing, it's near water, not in water. It's near water.
Reasonable, yeah.
The statement he mentions about up the creek without the paddle.
Right.
And he supposedly, from what I understand and read, I think he hit it sometime about September, early September, based off what he was talking about. It was in the States, and then what's his name? Was it Sloan?
Yeah.
The guy he took over there and showed it to him, and it was in September or something. I thought I read somewhere. So that would be the time frame that I would want to search, the same time that I believe that he put it there. So I have the same conditions, unless weather or, something has changed. I believe it's a dry creek bed that you're going to be going up.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. It's why there's no paddle up the creek, because it was a creek, or it is a creek when the water's flowing in the spring from snow melt etc. But at that point in time, it will be dry in August, September, because it'll be hot. So it might have a trickle, but it's not going to be running. Those are my opinions. I feel pretty strong on those, and there's a few other things, but I'm gonna keep it at that. There's a 3 tidbits of advice that I've been watching you since your inception. I don't comment much in the chat room. I'm in there every now and then. You know, I just wanted to call one time. I've never done this before. And, you know, I'm an armchair guy. I'm not boasting and bragging and want to be on the rooster roster and all this and all that.
Right.
Just something I've picked up on my own. And wanted to put it out there for the community to think about and whatever. But I think I got a pretty good idea where it would be, but there's still about, I don't know, between all the states. I believe New Mexico. For one of the clues, but it could possibly, that might not be the correct solve.
Yeah.
So there could be about 10 or 12 other places, like, you know, the lakes. He always talks about the lakes and stuff like that and this and that. And, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that for now. I don't give too much away.
So quick question. When you do finally go boots on the ground, what state are you going to?
New Mexico.
All right,
that's
well,
my
good.
starting point.
Good
That's
point.
the one where I believe in my mind that all the clues that I think I've got match the best for me.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because the home of Brown, I think I've got that one pegged. So, you know, that's why I start with New Mexico first. And if that doesn't pan out, then my home of Brown is out for what I have. And I would go to the other option of putting the chest near the lake or the waters that I think of, multiple dozen lakes in other states. You know what I mean? It's near lakes in my opinion. So.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for taking the time to call in and share that information with us. Certainly gives us something to think about. And I'm glad that you called and decided to share that. That was very kind of you.
All right, so I'm down. I don't know if you know where Lake Anna, Virginia is.
Yeah, we used to boat down there. That was one of the areas when we lived in Chantilly. We lived in Chantilly, and we used to take our boat down there to Lake Anna. It was we'd go down there a couple of times a year.
I used to live in Woodbridge and worked in Fairfax.
Yeah.
And I retired about almost 2 years ago now, and came down here to where I love being. So
yeah, Lake Anna is a beautiful area, beautiful lake, and a beautiful area. So very nice. All right. Well, if you ever find yourself out,
I don't know if you got a pen over there.
I do have a pen. You go.
Chat,
go ahead.
First name is full name is Clifford. Last name is Langnick. I'm the guy that always comments to you, and you always relate to the Fairfax.
Right.
When I comment sometimes.
Yeah. Well, just remind me of Lake Anna, and I'll remember it.
Yeah, I'm the silent partner. Like I said, I chat every now and then, but the first time I ever called you.
Well, I'm glad that you did.
Thank you, Toby. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, so Elizabethtown, try it again. Let's call Elizabethtown. Is that...
Hello.
Hey, Elizabethtown, it's Toby with a Gypsy's Kiss, trying to reach back.
Yeah, sorry about losing your call earlier.
Nah, no worries.
I just wanted to call you and tell you that I've been watching you guys for a few years now.
Thank you.
I love watching your videos, and I've been doing a lot of work and investigation with the Forrest Fenn and everything. But all I wanted to say is that I really enjoy watching your videos and everything you do, and all the Gypsy Kiss and everything else, and it's awesome. And I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. We appreciate having fans like you who do watch our videos and who call us to tell us that they watch our videos. So that's very nice. What's Elizabethtown, Kentucky like?
It's a small town, and it's really nice and laid back.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to get a little bit cold weather now.
Yeah.
But love watching your, like I said, I love watching your videos and everything else. I'm sure you have a beautiful, beautiful day today and the rest of this weekend.
Well, it's
right here, but
we have a good week now. We have the International Balloon Fiesta this week, and they're finishing up this weekend. Saturday and Sunday are their last 2 days, and the weather's nice. It's been cold. Today was kind of cool, and it's going to be in the 70s tomorrow for their last 2 launches. So we're looking forward to that. It makes for great photography and a lot of good people, and you can visit with your friends who go down to the balloon launch site, which is literally straight across the mountains, towards the mountains from me. So it makes for some great
sounds
photography.
awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
All right. You didn't say your name. What was your name?
Ray Aaron.
Ray, thanks for calling in, and thank you for thinking so highly of our show. We'll try to keep up the quality that you enjoy.
Oh, you do great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. You have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. That's very nice. Elizabethtown. Sassy, I saw your message. You're right. It looks like Route 50 ends somewhere around Sacramento. I don't the map that I have, but it does go all the way to Ocean City. So it's like 66. And we got a message from somebody who was actually driving. I saw it go by, who was on Route 50 as we were talking about it. So it's kind of cool. So let me go back to my music here. Let's see, where were we? Super Blues, Unicorn Heads. Oh, that's some interesting names there. Huh? Got a drum intro, bass drum intro. Jimmy Fast, which contractor story? I was a contractor for 35 years. Which one are you talking about? Or you're just taking any one at this point? I'm going to tell you the one, the Afghanistan one, because I saw West TAS or West AS, something like that. He has that story wrong. He thinks I was busted in a prostitution sting. I wasn't. Let me find. I need some music. Let's see. I'm going to tell a story. Let's go to cinematic. Okay, hold on. I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm going to find the right music for it. Let's see what we got here. Attribution. Let's see. There I was. I don't think it's long enough anyway. Let's see. I gotta fix something. Okay, here's one. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Waltz to Death. Damn, brothers and sisters. That's the song that we want. Not that. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Spine-chilling cardiac tension. What's this about? Can I loop this? So there I was, in the middle of Afghanistan. No, just easy. I'm not going to do that. I am going back to my jazz music here. And blues, and let's see, where were we? There we go. Wow, 1980s. Came right straight out of the 1980s. All right, we got about 20 more minutes before we close up tonight's show. We've got a couple calls we can take in, so if you're interested in calling and talking about stuff, please do. I'll talk about anything. No religion, no politics, all right? The Bible is religion, brothers. By the way, I'm going to put up a video tomorrow on a Gypsy, not tomorrow, maybe this weekend sometime at Gypsy's, because I'm serious about the sand project. I will in that video explain to you what I'm asking you to do. And what I'm asking you to do is go to a place where you find natural sands, a river bed or a river bank or a beach or whether the beach is by the ocean or by a lake. And I want you to collect a small sample of the sand at that area and send it to me. And also take a picture, take a photograph, and it doesn't have to be of anything wherever you're standing. If you're standing on the spot that you took the specimen from, the vial of whatever you use of sand, just take a picture from there and then text me that picture to this number or send it to a gypsyskiss@gmail.com, and that gives me the metadata that I need to figure out so I can catalog where the sand is coming from. But I'll make a video explaining everything. And the reason is we're running out of sand, and I'm just curious about where this goes. This is called Coyote Hearing. Don't know, it's a band. Oh, I like this one. Now, Jimmy, I'm building another YouTube channel. So, Pap, no, I want you to go to the beach. I want you to take a sample of the sand on the beach. Send that to me. The address is in the description box below. And then take a picture of from the place that you collected the sand. And it can be a picture of anything. You holding the sand, you taking a picture from there, because then I can use that data to categorize the sand that you're sending me. That's why I need that. Melbourne, Florida. There's a sand person right there. Let's talk to him. Hey, Melbourne, what's your name and what's your question?
Hey, this is David. I've been watching you for quite a while here and really enjoy your show.
Thank you, David. That's very nice of you to say.
First time caller, a bit nervous. So
oh, don't worry about it. There's nothing to be nervous about. I'm not going to bite you.
All right. I was curious about your solve. When you showed the videos of I think it was the gorge there, where you go down the river by Colorado, it seemed like there were all these rocks that you were saying were puzzled why they were going up the mountain or something.
Yeah.
And it seemed all the rocks were all the same size. Like it was a pathway of some old sort.
Yeah, we actually called that the River of Rocks, and you can actually see it from Google Earth. Hang on, let me pull that up. Yeah, we didn't know what else to call it, so we called it the River of Rocks. Let me let me just do maps. Otherwise, it's going to open my Google Earth Pro thing. Google Maps. Let me show you. You can see it. So let's go to Osher Station and Antonito. We'll go to satellite view. Okay, so the problem is that what I'm about to do, there's a 30-second delay while you see this, but I'm gonna go to this, and then later on you can take a look at it. Okay. So I'm gonna do a screenshot. So the screenshot that you're looking at right now is that of Osher Station, which is the railroad station. That's the halfway point between. For the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad, between where it leaves Chama, goes all the way to Antonito, and at lunchtime every day, the two trains coming from opposite directions meet at Osher Station, and they have lunch. Your choices are turkey or meatloaf. But that's the road that leads us down to our solution. So I'm going to take this as Forest Road 103, and it goes down here into the Rio de los Pinos right there. And we cross the river. That's the Rio de los Pinos right there. We cross the river. You've seen videos of that. And we drive around here, and then we take a little shortcut right here. See that? And that's what we call this area here is called our launching point. This is where we park, and we head downstream. Now, that trail that looks like a man-made trail, it's not. These are all cattle. You'll see a bunch of these trails here. These are all cattle trails. There's the border between Colorado and New Mexico, which is where our warm waters halt right there. That's the island where we hid the baby mammoth skull and the copper coin from last year. And then as I go down here, right there. See that? So when you see this on the map, yeah, you can't now, but when you go back, so what I'm doing right now is what you're looking at, what we call the River of Rock. And that's all those pictures that you saw. And it comes from up here on the south side of the mountain. That's actually Carson National Forest on that side. And it just leads down into the river, and they're boulders. I mean, you can't tell here, but you have to climb over them. They're boulders that come from the top of the mountain, and it would be okay. You'll see a lot of shale up here on this side, on the Colorado side, from the work that was done for the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad, but there's nothing like that up here where the River of Rocks is. So I guess a geologist could explain to me what that's all about, but I have no idea. I just think it's a strange formation.
It just doesn't seem natural that they would all be the same size.
Yeah, let me see. I've got some Rio de los Pinos pictures right here. Let me see if I can find one for you, because I always used to take. Here it is. So you'll see this when you get there. Those are the rocks. The photograph that I'm showing right now are the rocks that are on the River of Rock, that we call it the River of Rocks. And they're just, here's another picture of it. So let me see, right there. So that's a picture up the side, a photograph up the side of the hill with the River of Rock. So when you hang up, you can take a look at it, because we can't.
Doesn't it seem like a blaze to you, or a trail?
You know what? It didn't. Somebody in the room said maybe that's the no paddle up your creek, River of Rocks. But I gave it that name. I gave it that name because I didn't know what else to call it. Because when you see the pictures, when you look at this in the video, you'll see that's what it looks like. So. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. And then the other thing I was curious about, I know you say where warm waters halt, you go by the fishing regulation, but then it seems you go back to warm water, you don't use the plural. Like finding two places where the fishing regulations
No. The reason I use the fishing regulations is because the fishing regulations use the phrase warm waters. It's not because there's multiple waters. The fishing regulations from 2009, 2010 use the phrase warm waters. And
I understand.
Warm waters warm waters, and what that paragraph in the fishing regulations used to say, it doesn't anymore, but back then it said all waters in New Mexico are warm waters, except those designated as trout waters. Yeah.
Okay, but you said like 6 places?
No.
Where they were?
There are dozens of places.
Oh, okay. it seemed like where two of them cross, wouldn't that be waters instead of just one?
No, because it's not a number thing. It's not a number thing, and it's not a temperature thing. They cross. So I can tell you, for example, warm waters halt at the eastern border on the Cimarron River, on the eastern border of the I can't remember the name of the campground, the first campground in the Cimarron. You can because trout waters start there. Warm waters halt. Mm-hmm. Warm waters halt where trout waters begin. And the Department of Game and Fish in New Mexico has designated special areas along almost every river in northern New Mexico as trout waters. Well, if they're trout waters, they're not warm waters. Mm. All waters in New Mexico are warm waters, except those designated as trout waters. And I want to make a point here. They do not say all waters in New Mexico are warm waters, except those designated as cold waters. That doesn't exist. What they say is all waters in New Mexico are warm waters, except those designated as trout waters. And those are, and they show you on a map expressly where those warm waters halt and the trout waters begin.
I see now. Okay. I was thinking, well, maybe you could find a place where there were two rivers.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with these areas. Yeah. It has to do with these areas where that are governed by a special set of regulations for catching trout.
All right, I see. I think you're doing very good. I mean, I've been keeping up with you, and it's a hard puzzle to crack. I've been out about 9 different times, and I think I've figured out several things, but you never know, like you say, unless you find the treasure, anybody's as right as anybody else. So it's really difficult. Where in the end do you see this going? If somebody finds it, would you like to make a movie about it, or
no? I wouldn't. I'm sure I'm retired, and I've actually sold most of my documentary making equipment. My passion, my hobby right now is live streaming on this channel and other channels that we develop. So where it goes is up to the finder, whatever they care to do, if they want to make a movie or a book, but I'm not going to be involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to make a movie and base it on, like, a little girl from India comes and finds the treasure.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. There's certainly movies to be made and books to be written. I'm just not. I don't expect to find the treasure, nor do I expect to be alive when it is found. So.
Well, it seems like the people who call in, they have 1 or 2 clues, but they never give you the 9. They say they have all 9 clues and 9 hints figured out.
Yeah. Anybody who calls in and says they have that many clues or hints, I tell them to go get the treasure. Don't waste any more time.
Right. Well, some people can't, I guess, or I've tried and I've ran out of money.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You think you get close, but like I have ideas. You just don't want to spurt them out there because someone else could go and grab it. But you think you've solved all the different, all the 9 clues in the 9 contiguous steps.
Yeah.
But then, who do you, if you can't make it out there, you just got to wait and hope somebody else doesn't get there first, right?
Right. Yeah. That's why I recommend, if you know where it is, go get it.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying. Aren't we all? Right?
Yeah. So. All right, sir. Thank you for calling in. And I'm sorry, did you have another question?
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you for, offering searchers a good venue to discuss the chase here.
Well, I'm glad that we could. We enjoy it. I know that Shelley does. I like it enough that I'm staying up at, all odd hours to do this, but I have fun doing it. I have a lot of fun.
Okay, Toby.
All right. You have a good evening.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Talk to you later. Okay, I'm going to turn off the phone so I can address a couple of things. So, Michael, I'm doing it based on a video that I saw recently, and I won't go into a long explanation. We're running out of sand, but I thought that deserved a channel that, and I haven't detailed it out. I haven't even convinced Shelley to let me do it yet. But I think there's a channel around collecting sand from all over the world and sharing it with people, because I don't know if you've ever seen sand under a microscope, especially beach sand, but it is not only beautiful, it's curious. Sometimes, a lot of the beach sand will contain these sand-sized objects, small sand-sized shells. Anyway, just if you have it, anyway. It's I'll let you know when the channel is done. But if you're at a beach or a river or a lake and there's sand, collect a sample, take a picture, and send it to me. All right? And eventually you'll end up on the new sand channel, the Sand Project channel. Okay, so I've turned the phone off. I'm going to turn the music off so I got about 7 minutes left, which is as long as it's going to take for me to tell the Afghan story. So my last assignment before retiring, kind of retiring from serving the intelligence community, was to Afghanistan, and I went there for the Drug Enforcement Administration. And my job was to collect intelligence, and they knew I was a specialist in photography and videography, and my job was to collect intelligence on a conspiracy, and the conspiracy included the poppy warlords down in the southwest part of the country, the people that grow the poppy crop, the Chinese military just over the border, because the Chinese military was buying the majority of the poppy crop from the poppy warlords, the Arab Emirates. Well, let me continue that. So the Chinese military were then processing the opium they collected, what they collected from the poppy crop. half of it was processed into opium and shipped backwards into China and sold there. The other half was processed into heroin, and it was shipped to Eastern Europe. And the DEA was very concerned about all of this because they weren't supposed to be doing any of that. So my job was just to collect, as I said, what was effectively open source intelligence, videography, and anytime I could, and photography that documented some of these things. And then the money that was made in U.S. dollars. They transact everything in U.S. dollars, sometimes now in euros, but back then it was primarily this. Again, this was 2009, 2010. They were transacting in U.S. dollars, and those U.S. dollars were bundled in packs of bills, saran-wrapped $100 bills of $10,000, and then that was packed into bricks, and then those bricks were packed into larger bricks, and then these were all not saran-wrapped, plastic-wrapped, and they were all put on a pallet, and the pallet was 5 feet wide by 5 feet deep and 5 feet tall of $100 bills of American money, and that was put onto a plane. That was rolled onto a plane for the Arab Emirates, and then it flew to the Arab Emirates, and that money went into a bank there because the Chinese military needed a way to process, and the poppy warlords needed a way to process all this money, and they used the bank in the Arab Emirates to do that. So I had a couple of contacts in this was during the era of the Karzai government, and one of Karzai's brothers, the Karzai was the president at the time, and one of Karzai's brothers ran the Department of Agriculture, and the DEA believed that he had something to do with all of this. So they wanted me to contact people within the Department of Agriculture and develop them as information sources. Now, none of this is spying, right? This is literally open source intelligence, making friends with these guys using what is now referred to as social engineering and getting them to provide information to you. And indeed, they did. And the problem was that the two sources that I had inside the Department of Agriculture were busted. Not me. Let me make this clear. West, TAS, West. They were busted in a prostitution sting. Well, they're both Muslim. And when they were busted in a prostitution sting, they were taken in. All their belongings were taken with them. Their offices were closed down. And they had books, notebooks, and my name was in those notebooks. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but my name is Lebanese. It's Arabic. It comes from the Arabic tribe Yonah, the Hebrew tribe Younis, and or do I have that backwards? So I think that's backwards. And so my name is very common, and the last name Younis is very common in the Middle East. And I never had any problems, but the Afghan Federal Police misinterpreted my name being in their notebooks. They knew I was using them as a source, but they were upset that that these two gentlemen were contacting someone from the Middle East, right? And so they arrested me. The Afghan Federal Police came and arrested me. I was staying in a hotel in downtown Kabul, where a lot of Americans stayed, most of the Americans stayed. And I was taken to a prison, an Afghan federal prison that used to be an old hotel that they had converted into a prison. So it wasn't exactly like a rough-ass jail. It was like a really bad hotel more than anything else, where they didn't have sheets, actually. You slept on a bare mattress. But you got 2 meals a day, most of which were inedible anyway. And I was there for about 2 weeks before the American consulate could get me out. And so they got me out, and they made a deal with the Afghan government that I should leave the country. And when I did, they stamped my passport, the Afghan visa that I had, with persona non grata, so I couldn't get back into the country. So that was a project that I worked. That was the last project that I worked on. Well, that's not true. So that was the last official project that I worked on before I decided. Like by that time, so this was 2010. By that time, I was 61, and I felt like, geez, this is a good time to retire. I better retire. And so I did. And I was my plan. My kids were all out of college. They were grown. They were employed. Some of them were married, and I felt like I could do anything I wanted. And my plan was to retire to Costa Rica. So I returned to New Mexico, and as you guys know, I was born and raised in Santa Fe. My mother still lived there. My sister, who was still alive at the time, still lived there. And I was coming back to tell my mother that I was retiring to Costa Rica. And when I told, so I did, flew into Albuquerque, got a hotel, drove down to Santa Fe, went to her house in Santa Fe, and greeted her. And then I was talking to her, and I explained to her that I was planning to retire to Costa Rica. So she had never been happy that I was the child. I was the oldest child of 4. I was a child that left early on. I left New Mexico in 1969, and I never came back except to do a short visit. New Mexico was not a place I wanted to be. I know that sounds crazy. Santa Fe was a place I didn't want to be, but I know that sounds crazy. So I told her, and when I told her, she had a heart attack. And I don't mean figuratively, metaphorically. She had a physical heart attack right in front of me. So I rushed her to the hospital, and the St. Vincent's Hospital. I took her there, took her to the emergency room. They diagnosed her. They went through all the routines. She had indeed had a heart attack. And the doctor at some point after a couple of hours came out, and he said, "Is that your mother?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, I said, "What's the prognosis?" And he said, "I'm going to give her a week, maybe 2. And so I decided, well, at the time I was staying in the Best Western Hotel at Rio Grande and I-40 in Albuquerque. And so I thought, well, I better stay around, right, so I can handle this. I was actually named as the executor, or well, I convinced her not to do that later on. But so I decided, well, let me stay a couple of weeks, get through this. She ended up living another 3 years. And I felt, I don't feel guilty, but I did feel responsible, and it was my mother, and we never had that great a relationship to begin with, and I felt like this was a way we could reconcile, at least heal some of our relationship. And then, and so I stayed another 3 years, and for 6 months I stayed in the Best Western Hotel because I didn't know when she was going to pass away. And then I got the apartment that you guys saw in our early videos in downtown Albuquerque, and I'd go visit her. And then eventually in 2014 or 15, she passed away. And a month later, my sister passed away. and they were close. They were as close as any two people, and I think that was part of it. So I thought to myself, well, let me, maybe I can move to Costa Rica now. So I went down to Costa Rica, and it had changed. It had gotten very Americanized. It had gotten very touristy. It just wasn't the Costa Rica that I had planned to live in. So I came back to New Mexico, and the other thing, by that time, I was teaching at UNM. I was teaching documentary making at UNM. I was helping to run the public access station here in Albuquerque, and I had already done a lot of work with Shelley, so I had roots here. So I stayed, expecting that, well, maybe this is where my retirement was. I didn't expect that I'd be moving back to D.C. because it's very expensive, and B, if you don't have a reason to go to drive in that traffic, then it's not fun driving in. I made that drive for 30 some years downtown DC. So I stayed here, and every year the apartment complex would say to me, do you want to renew your lease? And I'd say, okay, renew it for another year. And I end up staying. And then they came this last year, and they used to come in February January, because my lease renewed in March. And they said, do you want to renew your lease? And I did this quick calculation, and the calculation was 7 times 12 times $1,250, because that's what I was paying. And it was like $90,000. And I thought, oh my God, that's a really bad financial decision. So that's when I decided to buy the house. And so I'm here pretty permanently. I mean, I've got a 30-year mortgage. I won't pay it off until I'm 100. So anyway, that's the story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But that was the last one, the Afghanistan for DEA was. And I turned over all the data that I had at that point. I didn't get to finish the project because I couldn't return to Afghanistan. And it was later used in trials that the DEA, through the Department of Justice, and in the United States and the Justice Department in Afghanistan, used to prosecute some of the poppy warlords and stop the traffic into China. So that's one of them. I got a dozen of those. All right. So, tax document where there are the real treasures. What is it? Art. Oh, wow. Good discussion going on. All right, guys. It is after midnight. And I just want to say good night. Thanks for sticking it out with me here for the evening. We'll do this again next week. I told Shelley that I would do it for at least a month to see if it was working out for us. So I'm having fun with it so far. I like the music. All right. You guys have a good evening. Let's go to our brand new outro here. There.